Val Kilmer didn't simply step back from Hollywood. He was systematically wiped away right after hitting the pinnacle of his success. Without any forewarning, he disappeared from major films, leaving fans baffled. Now, Mel Gibson is shedding light on the unsettling reality behind Kilmer's refusal to conform and how that choice might have shattered his career. Rewind to the 1980s and early 90s, Val Kilmer wasn't just another actor. He was the movie. As the youngest ever graduate of Juilliard, brimming with raw, undeniable talent, Kilmer possessed the kind of star power casting directors dream of. Sure, he was arrogant, but he had the track record to back it up. Top Secret, Top Gun, The Doors, Tombstone. His portrayal of Jim Morrison was so uncanny, fans believed he was Morrison. By the time he donned the cape for Batman Forever in 1995, he stood among Hollywood's elite. Yet, as swiftly as he ascended, he vanished. When Batman and Robin entered production, Kilmer was conspicuously absent. George Clooney took over. No explanations, no farewells, just silence. Director Joel Schumacher didn't mince words when he finally unloaded his grievances about Kilmer in an interview with The Independent. This wasn't subtle criticism, it was a scorched earth takedown. Schumacher outright labeled Val as psychotic, venting about his exhaustion from defending overpaid, overprivileged actors. He even admitted praying to never collaborate with Kilmer again, capping it off with a brutally dismissive remark. He was badly behaved, rude, and inappropriate. Then we had 2 weeks where he didn't speak to me, and it was bliss. Let's be honest. Since when has being difficult ever derailed a Hollywood career? Half the industry thrives on diva antics and unchecked egos. Countless A-listers have hurled chairs, berated crews, and still walked away with Oscars. So, the real question is, was Val truly that unbearable? Or was he simply unwilling to play the game by the powers that be's rules? Then came the murmurs of a blacklist. Val himself confirmed it in a brutally candid interview. "Do you think people found it hard to work with you?" He responded, "Yeah. Impossible. I'm kind of blacklisted. I haven't landed a studio job in 15 years. When pressed, he clarified, "Not in a way. You are banned." His goal? To return. "I'd love to. I've always watched movies and wondered what I'd bring to a role." Kilmer insisted his downfall wasn't about his behavior. It was his defiance of the system. "I had ideas, insecurities I projected onto the industry. The expectations were absurdly unrealistic. Apparently, I have an evil twin." Hollywood demanded submission. Val resisted. "I was naive. I complained too much, didn't appreciate the business that gave me everything. Now that I've lost that privilege, I wish I'd been more grateful. I'm trying to be better every day." When asked if he'd change his approach if given another chance, his answer was pragmatic. "Yes. In whatever way gets me hired again." Val Kilmer was unapologetically vocal about his convictions, particularly when it came to the integrity of art. But Hollywood, as he came to realize, wasn't about artistry. It was a business. And his refusal to acknowledge that distinction marked the beginning of his downfall. The timeline becomes eerily suspicious around 1998 to 1999, when Kilmer suddenly disappeared from the spotlight. But he wasn't alone. Mel Gibson, Wesley Snipes, and Brendan Fraser all vanished around the same time. Gibson, once the undisputed king of the box office, found himself unable to secure roles unless he financed his own films. Snipes was imprisoned over alleged tax mishandlings, supposedly his accountant's fault. Fraser, after speaking out against harassment, faded into obscurity. The pattern was undeniable, and the internet took notice. Mel Gibson was the one who finally voiced what others only whispered. In 1998, he admitted, "I had a whole bunch of weird, paranoid suspicions about what was happening, because there were things I just couldn't make sense of. Nobody would explain it to me, so I formed my own opinions about this town and the people in it." He likened Hollywood to a scene from a Western, a creepy saloon where conversations halt the moment a stranger walks in. "It's like one of those weird towns where the locals warn you, 'Don't go into the house on the hill.' You dismiss it as paranoia. Until later, when you realize you were right all along. And he was right. After directing The Passion of the Christ, Gibson was met with silence from every major studio. He had no choice but to fund his own projects. Then, in 1999, Stanley Kubrick released Eyes Wide Shut, a film dripping with symbolism. Secret societies, masked elites, and decadent parties that mirrored Hollywood's hidden underbelly. But before Kubrick could finalize the edit, he died suddenly. Rumor has it, 25 minutes of crucial footage were cut. Coincidentally, that same year, Val Kilmer was scrubbed from Hollywood's A-list. Speaking of masks, consider Kilmer's portrayal of Batman. His version of the Caped Crusader was hollow, haunted, a man burdened by secrets, a fitting metaphor for someone who'd seen too much behind the scenes. Kilmer wasn't just an actor, he was a chronicler of his own life. He filmed everything. Childhood memories, behind-the-scenes moments, private reflections, as if anticipating a day he'd need proof. His 2021 documentary, Val, was a haunting testament to this. "I have thousands of hours of videotapes and film reels," he revealed. Even when told to turn the camera off, he refused. "I will keep it on until we're done." The documentary wasn't just a retrospective. It felt like a man preserving evidence of his own erasure. And then, there's the island, the flights, the lists, the eerie silence. Kilmer's career collapse aligns unsettlingly with the rise of whispers surrounding Epstein's inner circle. Did Kilmer decline an invitation? Did he say something he shouldn't have? We may never know. But the fact that so many careers imploded simultaneously is too glaring to ignore. Rewind to 2015, the year the script for Sound of Freedom was written. A film about child trafficking, based on true events. The film Sound of Freedom, based on the work of former Homeland Security agent Tim Ballard, completed production in 2018. By all accounts, this should have been a major theatrical release, yet it was treated like an unwanted project, passed around and ignored for 5 years. Why? The situation grows suspicious when examining the details. Originally, 20th Century Fox was set to distribute the film, but then came the plot twist. Disney acquired Fox in 2019 and, in the process, inherited Sound of Freedom. Instead of releasing it, they essentially buried it, locking it away as if it never existed. This move raised eyebrows across the industry. Why would Disney, of all studios, suppress a film about rescuing children from trafficking? Fans began speculating, and then Mel Gibson amplified the controversy. Gibson has long been Hollywood's black sheep, having called out the industry's dark undercurrents since the late 90s. At first, he questioned whether he was being paranoid, but over time, he became convinced the system was hiding something sinister. He once described Hollywood as a twisted small town, where everyone knows the secrets but no one speaks up. One particularly chilling moment came when Gibson recounted an alleged conversation with a powerful producer. "There's a producer I know, successful, but I won't name names, who had a very blunt philosophy about women in films. His view? Women on screen should be either naked or dead, preferably both." The statement was shocking, but it reinforced Gibson's belief that Hollywood was spiritually bankrupt. Over the years, he's openly criticized the industry for exploiting women, endangering children, and protecting predators. When Sound of Freedom finally saw an independent release and began gaining traction, Gibson's support felt deeply personal. The film's success was undeniable, earning nearly $100 million worldwide on modest $14 million budget. Yet, mainstream media outlets like CNN, Rolling Stone, and The Guardian either ignored it or dismissed it as conspiracy bait, offering no substantive critique. Despite being ostracized, Gibson hasn't given up. He's been vocal about Lethal Weapon 5, claiming it has the best script of the franchise, yet it remains unmade. The reason? Likely not the script's quality, but the perceived risk of attaching his name to a major studio project. His frustration is understandable. Others in Hollywood have been welcomed back after far worse scandals, so why not him? A few industry figures have defended him over the years. Robert Downey Jr., Hollywood's ultimate comeback story, publicly vouched for him. More recently, Andrew Garfield stood by Gibson while promoting Hacksaw Ridge, stating, "Everyone deserves second, third, even fourth chances." But as things stand, Gibson remains on the outskirts. Now, Gibson has hinted that Val Kilmer understood the true cost of Hollywood fame. It wasn't just hard work, but one's very soul. And Kilmer, it seems, refused to pay that price. Val Kilmer's story suggests he saw too much, asked uncomfortable questions, and rejected the elite's unwritten codes. According to Mel Gibson, this wasn't simply a case of health issues or voluntary retreat. Kilmer was effectively exiled for refusing to comply with Hollywood's shadowy power structures. The same system Gibson has denounced for decades allegedly turned against Kilmer when he wouldn't play along. Now many speculate his blacklisting wasn't about difficult behavior, but about what he might have exposed. When Kilmer reappeared as Iceman in Top Gun: Maverick, it initially seemed like a triumphant return. But viewing that scene now reveals something more poignant. It feels like a farewell. The voice audiences heard wasn't entirely his. It was a carefully constructed blend of AI technology, archival recordings, and movie magic. Though determined to participate, every moment on set was a struggle for the ailing actor. Between takes, he battled severe health challenges that made each line delivery a small victory. Following the film's release, Kilmer withdrew completely. No interviews, no public appearances, no social media engagement. While fans assumed he was enjoying quiet retirement, a more troubling reality emerged. Close contacts reported losing touch, with unanswered calls and messages piling up. Even family members found themselves out of the loop, though few raised alarms because this isolation fit Kilmer's reputation as Hollywood's spiritual recluse. His eventual passing on April 1st left many hoping for a cruel joke. The official cause, pneumonia, immediately raised eyebrows among those familiar with Hollywood's history of suspicious deaths. Like Kim Porter, Andre Harrell, and others whose deaths were attributed to sudden illnesses, Kilmer's autopsy revealed disturbing details beneath the surface explanation. Medical examiners documented a body ravaged by neglect, chronic infections, unhealed surgical wounds, severe malnutrition, and advanced muscle atrophy. The report suggested some conditions could have been treated, implying either self-neglect or possible external factors preventing proper care. Toxicological findings showed elevated painkiller levels, not lethal, but indicative of someone enduring constant physical and likely emotional agony. In his final years, Kilmer channeled his energy into painting, personal journals, and bonding with his children while gradually withdrawing from the world. His mysterious final social media post, a Batman tribute, now reads like a cryptic farewell from an artist who navigated Hollywood's darkness while maintaining his creative light to the end. The full truth behind his decline may remain as enigmatic as the man himself, but the circumstances invite sobering questions about the price of nonconformity in an industry built on illusions. Val Kilmer's final days carried an eerie significance when he mysteriously posted, "I have an animal for us. It's been a while. Oh, you look great." These cryptic words, shared just before his passing, now feel weighted with unspoken meaning. More than just a Hollywood icon, Kilmer became something far more profound. A truth-teller disguised in superhero garb, a rare voice of refusal in an entertainment empire constructed on enforced silence. If industry forces truly sidelined him for his unwillingness to conform, this raises disturbing implications about the countless others who may have compromised their integrity simply to remain employed. Perhaps Kilmer's prolonged withdrawal wasn't surrender at all, but rather a calculated form of self-preservation. The deeper narrative here extends beyond questions of mortality. The real mystery lies in understanding the deliberate erasure of a man who saw too much. This perspective changes everything about how we remember his legacy. That unsettling feeling you're experiencing right now? You're not alone in it, but this is merely the beginning. The full picture becomes even more revealing in our upcoming investigation that you won't want to miss.